Hi. So in this video, we're going to look at circle, um, area of a circle, circumference of a circle, the diameter, then the radius. Very basic for high school children, maybe it's those in SHS and then those in the basic school, that's GHS. So let's look at it. So if you have a circle, the line that is drawn from the center to any point of the circumference, so you call the radius. This part, any parts on this is called the circumference. Okay, so the total parts is also the circumference. So here it can be called the circumference. Now, the circumference can also be called the perimeter of the circle. Okay, that's the perimeter of the circle, that's the radius. Now, when we draw a line that divides the circle into two equal parts, we call that the diameter. So let's say this is the line that actually divides the circle into two equal parts. If here is radius, don't forget that this is also the radius, because from the center to any point of the circle is, or any part of the circumference, is what we call the radius. So yes, that is the radius. Good. So radius plus radius can be called a diameter, right? So we're going to write a series of formulas here. We're a series of formulas here. We're going to say that circumference is going to be 2 pi r, or is going to be pi d. This is the first formula you need to know. Okay, so now the second formula you need to know is the area of a circle. The area of a circle is given by pi r squared. Now the third formula you need to also know that we're going to use is the diameter, which is equal to the 2r. And the last one is the radius, which is going to be the diameter divided by 2. Now these are the formulas you need to know. So you just have to memorize them. But to derive them is not difficult. I don't want to make this video long, so maybe in another video I will talk about how the 2 pi r and the pi d, all these formulas came about. I'll talk about them in a different video, but for now, if you just want a quick revision to maybe write your exam or something, you can just memorize these ones, and then we're going to use them in this video. So let's jump right into the first example. So this first question said that the radius of a circle is 7 centimeters. So we have to find the distance around the circle. Now, normally you'll be given pi to be 22/7, unless special case where they would say maybe 3.142 or something like that. So either 3.14, 3.1, 3.4, 3.14, 3.142, 3.141. That will depend on the question. They will tell you what you should use to represent pi. But in this case, we are going to use pi to be 22/7 in throughout the video. But if I want to change it, I will specify. So now let's see. To solve this, we are going to find the circumference, the distance around the circle. So we are referring to the circumference of the circle. And we are going to use a formula that has radius inside and also circumference also inside. Why? The reason is that in the question we were given the radius, so you make sure you use a formula that has radius in it, and then also has a relationship with the what? Circumference. And that's going to be our first formula, which is our C is equal to 2 pi r. We don't know the circumference, so we can just say C is equal to 2 is maintained, pi is 22/7, and then our radius was giving us what? 7. This 7 can take care of this 7, cancel out. So we get 2 times 22, which gives us what? 44 centimeters. That becomes the answer. So that becomes the circumference of it. Now, let's say we are asked to find also the area. How would we have found this? Okay, so we know that the area is pi r squared. We already know that the radius was given in the question to be 7 centimeters. Okay, so it means that our radius is going to be our pi, which is 22/7, times our radius squared, that is 7 squared. So 7 squared is given by 7 times 7, that's 7 squared. This 7 will take care of one of the 7. So we'll be left with a to be equal to 22 multiplied by 7. And 22 multiplied by 7 should give us 154 centimeter square. So this also becomes the area. Now, someone might be asking, what if I'm asked to find the diameter? Sorry. So what if I'm asked to find the diameter? The diameter we know from the formula is that it is 2r. So if we need to find the diameter, we're going to say diameter is equal to 2r, and our r is already 7. So we're going to say diameter is equal to 2 times 7. That gives us what? 14 centimeters. So I think that's all right. Very good. So let's move on to another example. Now, in this case, we are asked to, an example, question 2, we are asked to find the area of a circle whose diameter is 14 centimeters. So if the diameter is 14 centimeters and we are asked to find the area, we need to look for a formula that has a relationship with the area and then the diameter. And in fact, there is no formula that has a relationship with area and diameter. So what do? We know that the area from the formula I gave you is area is equal to pi r squared. And it means that we need our radius, but we don't know the radius. But we can get the radius from the diameter because there's a relationship between the radius and the diameter. There's a formula for the radius as d/2. So if we use this formula to find the radius, we can now substitute the radius into the formula for our area and we use it to calculate the area as demanded in the question. So our radius is going to be the diameter, which is 14 centimeters from the question, divided by what? 2. 14 divided by 2 is 7 centimeters. Okay, so that's the answer now. Now we have our radius. We have pi. Like I said, we are going to use pi to be 22/7. Now our area is equal to pi, which is 22/7 times our radius squared. And I said radius is 7 centimeters now. The 14 is the diameter, so half of it is the radius. So that's 7 centimeters. We're going to have 7 centimeters squared, which is the same as 7 times 7. 7 cancels one of the 7, and I know my area is now 22 times 7, and 22 times 7 is 154 centimeter squared. I just flipped the question around so that just in case you're given a diameter, how are you supposed to actually like solve the question? That is why I use the same numbers. I just flipped it a little. All right, so that is the area. So we've gotten our answer. Very simple. So if you are given a question where they ask you to find the area and you're given the diameter, these are the process you need to go. You first have to find your radius using the formula d/2. Then you're going to get your radius. Then you use the radius, your new radius, you go and calculate for the area, but by using the pi r square formula, and then you get your final answer. Sometimes it will result in decimals. So because this is the beginner lesson, I don't want to involve questions where you're going to do a lot of calculations, going to get so much confused. I want to use very simple numbers that you can operate on or work with. So let's go to the third question and see how to solve that. All right, so in this third question, we are told that if a circular disc has an area of 154 centimeters square, what will be its radius? So like I said, before you solve this question, you are asked to find radius, and then we are given the area. So we need to write a formula that connects area to what? Radius. And we know that the area formula itself is having radius inside. The area formula has radius inside because area is equal to pi r squared. So there's radius there. And we know the radius as we don't know the radius. So what can we do? So we just do substitution direct. So area is going to be 154. Pi is still our 22/7, then times our radius squared. So you just do substitution. Wherever you see the variable, you just substitute with the number. If you don't have, just replace it with the same variable. So my area equal to pi r squared, like this. Now the first thing I'm going to do is to multiply through by 7 because I want to get rid of the denominator here, and it's an equation, so you can do that. So if I multiply here by 7 and I multiply here also by 7, this 7 takes care of this 7, and I'm going to have 154 multiplied by 7, and that should give me 1078 is equal to 22 r squared. Now the next thing we have to do is to divide both sides by the coefficient of our variable, which is the r. So divide both sides by 22, divide both sides by 22. So if I divide both sides by 22, what I'm going to get is here to be 49, and then this cancels that and I get r squared. Now the next thing to do is that we are looking for r, not r squared. So we're going to introduce a square root to cancel the square. So when I introduce a square root here, let me bring it here. Square root of 49, then I find the square root of what? R squared 2. Whatever I do to the left side, do the same thing to the right. Just as I multiply here by 7, I multiply here also by 7. So our squared cancels our square root, and then the square root of 49 gives us 7, and that is it. So our r is 7 centimeters. That's the radius. What if we are asked to find the circumference? What would we have done? Now, in the same way, for this time, if you are given the area, you're asked to find, let's say, circumference. If that was the question, then the circumference, you need to write a formula that connects area to circumference, and there's no formula that actually connects area to circumference. Okay, so what we can do is that we know that the circumference is given by either 2 pi r or pi d. Okay, so we need either our diameter or our radius to find the circumference. Because of that, we actually need to use the area formula to find the radius. Then we use the radius to come and calculate for circumference. Keep that in mind. If you're asked to convert from area to circumference, or find the circumference of a circle when you are given the area, you need to use the area to find the radius, then use the radius to come and calculate for the circumference. Okay, so let's see how we're going to solve for this. Since we have already calculated the radius, it will be easier for us to just substitute and then find the circumference. So let's see. So our c is going to be 2 times 22 over 7 times our radius, which is already 7. Then we just cancel, and I see is what? 44 centimeters. That's all. And our diameter, of course, going to be 2 of the r. So our diameter so our diameter is going to be 2 times 7, which is going to be 14 centimeters. So these are the 3 that we can be asked to what? Find. Let's solve the next question. So we are given an entirely different question here, where we said that the radius of a circle is 5 centimeters. We have to find the area, the circumference, and also the diameter. And we have to take pi to be 3.142. It's not 22 over 7, okay? So I think it's going to be a little bit of a challenge to some of you, but we are in it together. So let's see how we're going to solve it. So let's first find the area. So now we know that area is given by the pi r square, which I said you should memorize the formula. And we already know that from the question, we know that the radius is given by 5 centimeters, right? So all that we need to do is say area is equal to pi. Now, our pi is not 20 over 7, but it's 3.142. Say we should take pi to be 3.142. So you cannot just use any number. So we're going to use 3.142 multiplied by r squared, which is 5 squared. Now, my area is going to be 3.142 times what? 25. 3.142 times 25. Now, if you are in an SHS, you can just use your calculator to calculate this. If you are in the basic school, then you have to do this manually. Okay, JHS, you have to do this manually. So if you multiply, you're going to get 78.55. What is area? You need to add your centimeter squared. Okay, right. So that's the answer. Now, we are also asked to find the circumference. We know that circumference is given by 2 pi r, and we know our radius is still 5 centimeters according to the question. So our c will be equal to 2 times our 3.142 times radius of 5 centimeters. Then we're going to multiply all of that together. Okay, this is going to be easier because this times that gives you 10. 10 times 3.142 should give you 31.42 centimeters. The decimal point goes this way 1, so we get 31.42. So that is the circumference. And we are also asked to find what? The diameter. But diameter is already giving us 2r. So 2r means 2 times what? 5, and that should give us 10 centimeters. Some of these things you don't even need to solve them. It might not even come in the section B aspect of your exam. It will be section A. for diameter, radius, and those things. But what can come in the section B is when they ask you, you're given the area, you're asked to find the circumference, or you're given the circumference, you're asked to find the area. So let's take a question like that and see how we solve it. So at the end of the video, I'll give you something to try. This is our question 5. Question 5 says that the area of a circle is 75.5 centimeters square. Okay, you have to find the circumference, also find the perimeter, and the diameter, radius of the circle, all of this. Okay. The question, I don't want, I'm saying that the 78.5 is almost the same as the question that we solved initially, so I just don't want to make a lot of changes. Let's go. So we are looking for the circumference first. Like we said, the circumference is given by 2 pi r, right? 2 pi r or pi d. There is no radius, so we can't use this formula. There's no diameter, we can't use this formula. But let's write a formula that connects area to something, a variable that we have here, which is area is equal to pi r squared. Now, pi r squared, we can find our radius easily. Our area is 78.5. I'm just ignoring the units for now. Later we bring them. Our pi, okay, we didn't use, okay, pi should be 3.14. Let's use 3.14 as there. So pi is 3.14. Then radius not given. All right. So we're looking for the radius. So what we can do here is that we can divide both sides by 3.14. Divide here also by 3.14. We are dividing because the 3.14 is multiplying with the what? R squared. So we need to divide. All right, so if we divide 78 by 3.14, we are going to get 25. Exactly. So with this, like I said, if you are in SHS, you are allowed to use calculator, but if you are not in the SHS, you have to do this manually. So you can take the decimal point out of them, solve them when you then bring the decimal points inside. Okay. If you need assistance in how to solve the division or addition or multiplication of decimals, you can let me know in the comment section. Okay, so now that we have our radius to be 5 centimeters, we can go ahead and then see, okay, since our radius is 5 centimeters, then our circumference is going to be 2 times 3.14 times 5. And like I said, this and this gives me 10. So 10 times 3.14 should give me 31.4 centimeters. Okay, now I'm done. So I need to now find my perimeter. Perimeter is the same as the circumference, so it's still the same answer. So this is done. This is also done. Diameter. Now diameter is given by 2 of the radius. So diameter is 2 times the radius, which is 5, and that should give me 10 centimeters. So that's also done. Now radius already solved for here. So that's it. So before you can find the radius, you need to like use the area formula to find the radius. Otherwise, I think that's the only way, or you'd have to. That's the only way. Even the radius must be the first thing you have to solve for. All right. So thank you for watching. Maybe I'll give you one question, and then you solve it. Well, this is your try work. You have to calculate the area of the circle whose circumference is 924 meters. Now, the unit is not centimeters. So if you leave your answer in centimeters, you are wrong. So we are asked to leave our answer in meters. And also, you are also going to find the diameter. All right. So like I said, pause the video, try it. I write the answer there, but I'm not going through the procedure. I will not solve it. So try it and then let me know your answer in the comment section. Okay. And if you found any problem to you, let me know. So I'm going to write the answers here. The area is going to be, and then the diameter is going to be. All right. So my area is going to be 1,386 meter squared, and then my diameter is going to be 42 meters. 42 meters. All right. So that becomes it. And to make us be on the same page, we are using the pi to be 22/7 so that we will all get the same answer. All right, thank you for watching.